Right?
We are live, live, live. Hey,
Uh-oh. My background went away.
good evening, everybody. We are live with the Black Women Empowering Finances. And today we are here to talk about boundaries, wealth, and me. So I'm going to bring up the team. Hey, hey, hey. You're muted.
Hey, everyone. I am Tasha Singleton with Black Women Empowering Finances, and we're talking about boundaries, wealth, and me in business. So, we are here. We are two of the five woman team. We are Joyce Chesley Haywood, Janisha Richardson, and Dee Bowden. We are all part of Black Women Empowering Finances, and this Saturday we'll be doing a Black History Month event. It is free. We'll have um, presentations on boundaries and self care for the entrepreneur, which will be presented by Dee Bowden. We'll have Janisha Richardson talking about business relationships, and of course, she'll give you all those great tips on networking. We're going to have Joyce Chesley Haywood talking about business controls to make sure that you can end this year profitable by putting the proper boundaries in place in your business finances. And then Rashida Roberts, of course, she's the one that's on with me right now. She is your personal finance coach, and she is going to be talking about when you spend your money, what to spend your money on, yes or no. Do you need it in business? Because many of us have that shiny object syndrome, and she's going to help you work through that. And then, of course, I will be talking about boundaries in the workplace. And of course, everyone needs boundaries in both business and in life in order to achieve their goals and dreams. So, let's talk about it, especially since 61% of entrepreneurs are currently feeling stress right now. That means boundaries are important. Think about that. All right. Well, Rashida, let's talk about the shiny object syndrome. How's that working for you?
Well, I used to have shiny syndrome when I first started out because when you first start out, what do you want to do? You want to make sure your business is successful. You want to do, you're trying to do everything right. Um, so that's part of what I'll be talking about when we first start. I mean, when we on Saturday, that's part of what I'll be talking about is when to buy as a business owner, as a new business owner. When should you be paying for certain items? Because it is easy to rack up some expenses as a business owner. And when you're a first time entrepreneur, or maybe you've been an entrepreneur for a little while and you just are not getting to where you need to go, and so you kind of have to, once you've been in it a while, you're like, okay, look, I need to make sure that my coins get invested in places that are really going to advance my business. So I've made plenty of mistakes. And we hear this all the time, right? This is why a lot of people become business coaches and things like that, is because they made all the mistakes and they don't want, others to have to go through those mistakes. But as little me starting out, you hear this from so many people, and sometimes it's hard to decide on who you should invest with so that you can make sure that you're getting a return on your money, which is one of the things that you should watch out for. Is one, what is your ROI when you are looking to spend your money? How is this going to monetarily show up in your business? It might be more of about exposure and getting the word out about who you are. So because that too is profitable in itself, when people know you. Like, you think about those signs that are in your business, or what you drive by every day, or you get it in the mail. When you hear something over and over and you get stuck in that problem, oh man, you remember, like, call this person. Like, you might just remember the little jingle that they had, right? So exposure is still can be profitable. So just knowing that you're going to be able to you're going to have some good attributions coming along with, whoever or whatever it is that you're investing in. Maybe it might be, it might give you back your time, right? To take something off your plate. Or so that way you could be focusing on something else, right? So we have to think about really what we're going to invest in and how it's going to show up in our business. So that's kind of one of the tips that I've talked about now, but I would like to just reiterate that. So I'll be talking about that again Saturday, along with other tips, because there are a lot of people who want your money, right? Even personal finance. Like, think how hard people market just to get your money for all year round. There's a holiday every day of the year, right? And, people have already planned out their Black Friday. And as a business owner, we're already, coaches are already saying, hey, you need to already have your Black Friday plan together. So they've already prepped for your personal finances. So just think about, how other businesses are planning to get, because you are their business, being a business owner, they're also planning to get your coins, all year round. Sometimes it's not malicious. It's because they genuinely want to help people. But in every arena, right, there's always the the ones that are not being genuine. And so it's up to us to sniff that out and to really make sure that we're aligning with people and we're aligning with products that are really going to help us and not not just spend our money and we don't get anywhere. Now, you have to also make sure that, especially if it's like a coaching program, you have to make sure that you're doing the work, because most coaches don't even want to work with people who are not doing the work, right? So we can't just say, oh, I invested, but I didn't get a return on my money. Well, did you actually put in the work, right? Sometimes we get into things that weren't marketed the way we thought. They're marketed in a way that we thought we were getting one thing, but then we actually end up getting another thing. And so this is where making sure that you question, right? You need to ask questions of whatever it is that you're going to purchase, or thoroughly research it and look for receipts that people have. So looking for evidence-based information that says that this is legit, and you understand exactly what you're going to be getting, so that you don't feel like you just fell for the okie doke. I call that the okie doke. Don't fall for the okie doke, So we have to look out, for that too. And then, you really have to decide, should I should I invest? I feel like you have to have 3 categories, right? 1 should say, yes, I need to invest. Okay. 2 says, no, I definitely don't need to invest. And 3 might be wait. Okay. I have a category. I have a list of people who I know I want to work with, but it's not the best time to work with those persons right now. Like, there's a company that I want to work with, but my business is not where it should be to even actually work with them, because they have a different target audience. So this is why you want to make sure that things are aligned, and that you're going to be working with the right people. You also need to know yourself, because they expect a certain type of, especially if you're going to work with a coach, they're expecting a certain type of effort from you. Do you have the time effort to put in? Do you have the resources to even put in? If you go max out and spend your $10,000, $20,000 for this now, well, the program usually calls for you to invest in something else. Will you be able to pay the next part of the program? So you probably don't want to max out. As Tasha stated the other day, you don't want to max out on that, because then you won't be able to actually follow through. So I thought that was a great, because we were talking about that, and that was one of the things that she mentioned as well, which I agree with, because I had to make that my own. I had to make a choice like that more recently, was to decide not to invest, because I was like, wait a minute, I would not be able to invest in the other things. And then I was thinking about my credit score and other things. So for me, it wasn't viable. It didn't make sense for me to actually take that particular investment. Now, sometimes you probably will need their services, but sometimes you're going to have to figure out, what's best. And that's why, sometimes working with professionals who really look at the overall analysis of your business, they're looking at your finances, they're looking at where you are. Sometimes we just really might need to put a little bit more skin in the game and not money in the game, because a lot of times if you just want to do it for me services, sometimes we're actually just looking for somebody to do it because we just don't want to do it, which, hey, as a business owner, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But it still needs to make financial sense for your business. That might not be where it is, right? That may not be where you need to be at the particular moment. So there are a lot of things that we have to decide. That's a lot of what business owners have to decide from day to day: who to work with, who to contract with, looking at the type of work that they put out, testing, beta testing, all kinds of things. But we definitely, as a new entrepreneur and as an ongoing and seasoned entrepreneur or and business owner, we're always evaluating. And so we have to make sure that we're always sharp in those skills, so that, our investments don't go, so that, that they're used to the max and they're not squandered away. So we have to be just as I wouldn't say scrupulous, but we do have to be very intentional, and we have to be very meticulous about what we're purchasing. And as a new business owner, sometimes we're not aware that some things that we're purchasing, we really don't need to purchase. So try to stick to some things, like, always make sure you got your foundational items up, right? You have your, EIN, you have your business license, if you getting your LLC, because most people start off as, well, I started off as a sole proprietor because it made more sense for me as I was getting up and I didn't have any clients. So I started out as sole proprietor, but now I have my LLC because things are starting to get real, right? So I had to make sure I got legitimized. You really do need an accountant because they can really show you how to, get almost like, especially during your startup phases, 100% of what you're spending in business, they try to get those deducted. And so they really work for you. So making sure that you spending good money on accounting and bookkeeping, because those are the things that are going to really help you, even though if you're not seeing a monetary return every month or even the first couple of years, you're going to see some type of reduction in help and savings when you get to your taxes, because that's what tax people are there for, and they're there to put you up or whatever. So spending money on people and things like that, maybe even your email system, because they say your email system is like worth gold, right? So spending money on your CRM early, and getting your website done, getting a like a landing page or funneling process. There's free stuff like MailChimp, that can help you with that. And sometimes you have to start off with the free things, get used to doing some things yourself. So that way, when you do hire, you actually know how to answer questions. You might not know, the ins and out of everything, but at least you can make sure that you make, you know a little bit about it, so that you can actually look like know something when you talk to people, ask them questions, And so, because we're not going to be expert in every single place in our business, and that's part of being a business owner. So you have to be able to trust other people, which means that more so you have to be able to ask great questions. And so, those are just a little bit of the things. We could talk about business all day. It's definitely a lifelong journey, right? It's definitely a lifelong journey.
All right, that was a lot of things. So with all that you gave, I can't wait to hear what you have for Saturday. That was a lot. All right, but I'll be talking about business boundaries in the workplace. Many of us, we have been connected, especially for the last few years, 24/7 with our jobs. Now, are you taking calls at 9 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning? What are you doing with your time as an employee? Are you clocking these hours? Are you ever away from your email? Does your phone go everywhere with you and you're always like, I can't even eat dinner with my family or friends and hang out without checking my phone? Well, guess what? That's a boundary. And it doesn't matter whether you're a regular employee or you are a independent contractor, a business owner. You have to set some boundaries in the workplace. There has to be a time for you to shut off because we need time to recharge, come up with new ideas, and that's something that we do by creating boundaries, and especially so that we can have life. You can't have a life. Yes, the old saying goes is what is it? If you love what you do, you've never worked a day in your life. That may be true, but you know what? You can love what you do, but your family is going to want you to. So guess what? We have to set those boundaries, and we have to figure out, am I doing my work, the person above me's work, and the person below me's work? Or am I just doing, so I'm doing 3 people's work in a time frame or running over because of other people's works? We got to work on those boundaries, okay? Because you do have a responsibility to do what you were hired to do and what you were contracted to do as an independent contractor, a freelancer, or as a business owner. Your business won that contract. You have to fulfill that. But that doesn't mean that you've got to do things that you weren't contracted to do. All right? So 9 o'clock calls 9 o'clock at night, but yet your office hours are 8 to 4. There's a problem with that. Look at your life. Where's the time for you to recharge? Where's the time for you to take a break? Where's the time for you to have that thought that says, hey, I have this problem. I've been working on this problem for a long time, but I'm always constantly working, always constantly answering the phone, and the solution is not coming to me. Because you know how those of us, when we're in the shower, now we've been thinking about this and trying to come up with a solution for months on something, sometimes years, and then boom, it just pops into our mind because we're in the shower. We need to create those boundaries. We need to really create those boundaries also because of health reasons. We all would like to live a wonderfully healthy life, and your health is your wealth. So remember that too. Those boundaries are important. And so Dee Bowden will be talking about self-care. As entrepreneurs, we are very terrible at self-care. We are working so hard to make our business successful, but remember, what sense does it make for us to work super hard while we're young and energetic, just so that when we're older, we're confined to a hospital bed because we overworked ourselves? Self-care is important, and she'll be talking about that. And what about your network? Are you constantly a giver and constantly contributing to other people? And in that network that you're with, are they giving back to you? Is it give and take? Because as the saying goes, once again, your network is your what? Net worth. Well, if you have a good network, that's true. But if you have a network where you're the only one that's giving and nobody's collaborating with you, then your net worth is 0, even though you have a network, because it's not working together. So Janisha Richardson is going to talk about boundaries in your business relationships. And so that way you can get that networking right. And when we collaborate, we all do better. Everyone prospers, right? The TEAM, together everyone achieves more. So we have to make sure that we do that. We're connected to the right people. Now, we all...
Gosh, I was going to say, as long as that circle is working well, because you have to make sure, again, that's where the boundaries come up, is because you have to make sure that you're not doing all the work, especially if it's a partnership and things like that. So, so making sure, you know how it is when you do group work in school. What happens, And so that's why, making sure your network is working for you just as hard as you're working for it. Like if I'm always referring people to you, but, it's never coming back, that's part of looking at, well, am I just being used, So we have to think about everything. And we don't always have to think about everything negatively, but positively, having healthy relationships. So I can't wait to hear what Janisha has up her sleeves for that, because it's definitely something new. We really probably don't think a lot about that, because we in the business world, it's very different, like a lot of positive vibes. And so you may not really think about what your relationship should look like, and what boundaries you need to place around your relationships when it comes to business, because everybody, has good smiles, they're good at selling, and so you feel that could come off, you might not even realize you're getting sold to, or somebody has a different ulterior motive, because everybody is so positive and uplifting, and all of that, and what that does, we tend to spin when we feel good, right? Or we think we're getting one thing, so you just have to don't have your horse blinders on when you're dealing with people in general, but make sure that the relationship is reciprocal, and certain aspects, and that is healthy. So that's going to be a great conversation in here.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a great conversation to hear. And then we've got Joyce Chesley Haywood, and she is definitely going to tell you how you can be profitable. Many of us have heard the old saying that it's going to take 3 years before 3 to 5 years, or even longer, maybe 10, in order for your business to be profitable. But Joyce is your profitability expert, and she's going to tell you how to put controls on your business so you can start being profitable as soon as possible. So some of you, if you've been in business for a while and you're still not profitable, she's going to help you get there with the necessary controls. And if you're a new business, you put the controls in, you may be able to be profitable within your first year. You never know. So she's got some great tips coming up as well. So it's going to be an exciting day on Saturday. We are looking forward to it. So in the beginning, we'll have presentations, which will go for about an hour. Then after that, we'll have a live Q&A. And then about 11:30, we're going to have some networking. So you'll be able to come in and network with other entrepreneurs from 11:30 to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to register for this free event by going to www.boundarieswealthandme.com. So we look forward to seeing you there on Saturday. Rashida, your last words you'd like to say?
Well, thank you all for listening, and we will talk and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.